Hi, this is Nate, and today we're going to be reading Chapter 15, 100 Candles. Our nation's founders knew they were doing something never done before. They were making a nation based on self-government. They called it the consent of the governed. Back then, at our birth in 1776, when the delegates to the Second Continental Congress signed the Declaration of Independence, people had little time to celebrate. They had to figure out how to fight Great Britain and win that independence. But now, it is 1876 and things are different. The experiment seems to be working. The nation has fought a terrible civil war, and become stronger for it. Americans are proud of themselves. The country is thriving. So everyone is excited by plans for a national birthday party. It will last for 6 months and be called the Centennial Exposition. This exposition is being held in a big park near Philadelphia. 200 buildings are needed to hold all the displays and activities. Let's climb into a time capsule and join the party. In 1776, Philadelphia was tense. Now it is mighty excited. America has never seen anything like this exposition. Philadelphia is all decked out in red, white, and blue. Welcome to the Centennial, says a huge banner. 1876 is a big year. Out west, the Sioux Indians win a victory at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. It will turn out to be their last big win. For the American Indians, the battle is almost over. They have lost control of most of their land. 10 million people will come to the Centennial before it closes. An article in the Chicago Tribune says, "Come at all events, if you have to live for 6 months on bread and water to make up for the expense." People come from all 38 states and from foreign countries too. Most are astonished by what they see. Machinery Hall, the most popular building, is 13 acres big, and that is small compared to the main exhibition hall, said to be the world's largest building, which covers 35 acres. Over here we have a box, and it says, "A centennial is a 100th anniversary. An exposition is an exhibition, often a big public one." And down here we have a picture. It says, "The most popular building at the 1876 Centennial Exposition was Machinery Hall. It showcased state-of-the-art industrial technology of the time." So moving on to the next page, the Women's Building is almost as large as a football field. The very idea of a building showing women's accomplishments is an indication of changes that may be ahead. Philadelphia's Mrs. E.D. Gillespie, who happens to be Benjamin Franklin's great-granddaughter, has been one of the most effective workers in promoting the Centennial. She has spoken before Congress and personally raised more money through women's organizations than any state, except New York and Pennsylvania. "The women of the whole country," says Mrs. Gillespie, "were working not only from patriotic motives, but with the hope that through this exhibition their own abilities would be recognized and their works carried beyond needles and threads." The Women's Building is filled with women's inventions and artistry, and some needle and thread work. One woman demonstrates a woman-designed darning machine. Another shows a life-preserving mattress. A newspaper, the New York Century for Women, is printed while visitors watch. But the most popular exhibit in the Woman's Building is a sculpture of a beautiful girl done in butter. For a nickel, you can ride around the Centennial grounds on a small railroad. What do you see? George Washington's coat, vest, and pants. A tropical garden under the glass roof of Horticulture Hall. The 40-foot-long arm and torch of the Statue of Liberty perched on top of a souvenir stand. This was before Lady Liberty took her place in New York's harbor. Real-looking artificial teeth, a gorgeous white hearse, fancy coaches, locomotives, Ben Franklin's printing press, a Liberty Bell made from tobacco, and the Capitol dome built of apples. Iowa has sent samples of its soil as well as its farm produce. From Norway there are magnificent furs, from Egypt saddles and mummies, and from Germany the biggest and deadliest steel guns ever built. And over here we have a picture. It says, "One exhibit at the 1876 Centennial Exposition featured the arm and torch that would later become part of the Statue of Liberty." And over here I have a box, and in it it says, on the 4th of July in 1876, America's leading woman reformers, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, read the Declaration of the Rights of Woman at the Centennial. Many people, some women as well as men, laughed at them. The Centennial buildings have towers, domes, statues, banners, and flags. Some glass buildings seem just like crystal palaces. A fountain holds a marble sculpture of an Indian girl named Minnehaha, bronze dolphins, a lion's head, and marble basins to catch the splashing water. It is beautiful. Are you hungry? You can eat a fancy meal or fill up on hot dogs, lemonade, hot roast potatoes, corn on the cob, popcorn, and ice cream. But don't eat too much. You might fall asleep, and you won't want to miss the carnival rides, or the toy displays, or the inventions. People line up to see the new inventions. There are typewriters, hundreds of sewing machines, a newspaper press that prints and folds 15,000 news sheets in an hour, wallpaper printing machines, washing machines, and even machines to make machines. The technology is so amazing that some people say there is nothing left to invent. The biggest hit of all is George Henry Corliss's colossal steam engine, the world's largest machine. It looms 40 feet high in Machinery Hall. Steam from the Corliss engine turns wheels. Those wheels pull belts strung overhead, and the belts make 8,000 smaller machines work. President Grant sets the big steam engine going. And up here we have a picture. It says, Henry Corliss's huge steam engine, the world's largest, highlighted the technological achievements of the day. A noted author, William Dean Howells, marveled at its vast and silent grandeur. Moving on. Just about everyone who enters Machinery Hall lines up to try a new gadget called a telephone. They say you can talk into the telephone and actually be heard in another room. When the Emperor of Brazil visits the Centennial, he puts his ear to it and cries out, "My God, it speaks!" The New York Tribune calls it a curious device and asks, of what use is such an invention? The newspaper answers its own question. Some lover might wish to pop the question into the ear of a lady and hear for himself her reply, though miles away. It is not for us to guess how courtships will be carried on in the 20th century. Shall we tell these people what telephones will soon do? Better not. Let them find out for themselves. The telephone is Alexander Graham Bell's invention. And before we move on to the next page, here's a picture. It says Alexander Graham Bell demonstrates his invention, the telephone, to the public for the first time at the Centennial Exposition. And over here we have invention and innovation. 1851, sewing machine. 1852, elevator brake. 1858, washing machine. 1865, I think I said 1888. 1858, washing machine. 1865, railroad sleeping car. 1868, typewriter. 1869, air brake. 1873, barbed wire. 1876, telephone. 1877, phonograph. 1879, incandescent light bulb. 1888, Kodak camera. 1892, adding machine. 1893, gasoline-powered automobile. And 1895, disposable razor. And moving on to the next page, Bell, a Scottish immigrant, now a professor at Boston University, was working with the hard of hearing and the deaf when he built a device that let people see speech in the form of sound wave vibrations. That made Bell believe that sound waves could be turned into electrical current, and then back again into sound waves. He was right, but he had to study electricity and conduct experiments to make it happen. He tried many experiments. Finally, just 2 months before the Centennial opened, he did it. He made the sound waves of his voice travel over a wire. America is producing practical scientists, inventors who can turn ideas into products that make the world easier to manage. We are patenting inventions at an amazing rate. Soon there will be electric lights, record players, moving pictures, cameras, automobiles, airplanes, and much, much more. How were things in 1876? During the centennial, everyone enjoyed the party, but how about the serious questions? What had the United States accomplished in its first 100 years? How were things going? Pretty well, thank you. We were a free country with a constitution. Sorry about that. We were a free country with a constitution all the world envied. We had survived a terrible civil war and ended the horror of slavery. We had grown from 2.5 million citizens in 1776 to 46 million in 1876. Our exports, goods sent out of the nation, were greater than our imports, goods brought from other lands. That was a big change from the days when most manufactured things came from England. We were becoming a world industrial power. Still, our nation had problems, large problems, especially with that idea of fairness for everyone. The gap is growing between rich and poor. While some people starve, others have so much money they do nothing much but show off. Even though some Americans feel the country belongs to the rich and powerful, most are optimistic and confident. The middle class, those people not rich or poor, is growing large in America and living better than any middle class in all of history. They believe in progress. They feel their problems can be solved, and they are eager to do what Thomas Jefferson suggested: pursue happiness. And over here we have two pictures, and the caption for it says, "Two women in their homes illustrate the widening gap between the rich and the poor in the late 1800s. So that was chapter 15. I hope you all have a great day.